Alright, get this out of the way. So for this week on my good and bad trades, start off with the bad one. So like I've said before, just because it's a good or a bad trade doesn't mean it was the biggest P&L or necessarily for the bad trade a big loss or anything, because sometimes you can take good trades, good setups, and they just don't work out. And sometimes you can take stupid trades and they pay off really well. So just keep that in mind when I'm going through these. So I'm basing these on how well I think I executed the trade versus how well the trade actually paid off. So we'll start off with my bad trade on the week with Google. So this was from Wednesday on September 9th. And I put this in here just as a quick reminder. Google, zoom out. So for Google, this yellow line was some intraday support from the previous day or something. I don't remember off the top of my head. So we had a pullback, and I had already, taken a really nice trade in Tesla on this morning. So for Google, I was really just looking for a quick scalp, nothing crazy. Everything that could go wrong went wrong with this trade. So I knew my levels, off raw price, and I wasn't looking at the chart, which is probably not a good idea. But I was very aware of the actual price, and I was watching price action. But the reason why that ended up not being a good idea is I took this trade here. It was actually back here, because for some reason I was reading this as 1179 and not 1177, and I have no idea why, to be honest. I saw a 9 and I thought we were actually in this area, so I was risking off this with just the morning highs a couple of cents above that, right into the 180. So my plan was trade 1179.32 area, which look, you can see it basically ticked twice before eventually came through, but it would have worked out right here. I don't know what happened, but I entered here, and then it was a fat finger or what. I thought I had 1777.50 puts, and I bought the 1775s, which isn't that big a deal. It was just like an extra strike down, but with Google, when we went into this long period of consolidation, it didn't eat away at the trade too much, but Google's premiums are ridiculous. So just as an example, I took a screenshot randomly off of my Tastyworks app, which I still have, even though I have no money in that account anymore because I fully switched over to Interactive Brokers. So pull that up. As you can see, on the put side, the bid and asks were so wide that even between strike prices, they overlapped or were very close to each other. So for the delta on these, they're for Google, about 50 to 55 cents or so. So with $2.50 wide strikes, they should not be this close at all. And at some points they were overlapping. The bid on the 1775s, or the ask on the 1775s, would be higher than the bid on the 1117 or the fucking 11775s on this. It was ridiculous. It's just something that Google does sometimes, and it really does it in times of low volume, which we've had this week. So something to bear in mind when you're trading, at least for Google, and maybe some of the others. If you're not, I'm familiar with Google, but just the way the volume's been, the option volume has been really weird, and they've been really spready, which I don't have a problem with big spreads, but when they're trading like this, it's just, I don't know, there's a lot going on with that, or there's a lot going wrong with that, I should say. So I entered at the wrong price and on the wrong strike, but I was in the trade, so whatever, and I didn't realize it actually till up here, because then I saw it push higher, and then I saw the price that it was at, and I realized I did not enter at the correct price. So then I actually pulled up the chart, which was stupid, and I should have had up in the first place because I was doing something else. I just had the price here kind of up and my actual broker versus the chart. So I was just kind of watching price action that way. So I entered in there, and then I added here. And because I had such an awful strike and entry, I decided I wasn't going to add any more to this trade. I was just kind of let it do its thing and see if we could get it to come back down, and I could get even just a break even or a little profit. So we then went into this long hour and a half period of consolidation, which is kind of, through lunch. We'd see the SPY rip up, not a lot, or it's kind of come down, and same with the Qs, and Google was just chopping, just up, down, up, down, up, down, not really doing anything whatsoever. And then finally, we got, this test here, which is kind of a double top area, and, just below the morning highs. And it broke through, and as soon as it cracked VWAP, I just went ahead and pulled the whole trade off. I could have gotten, not a bad payout if I would have, held and let it come down like I originally planned when I thought I was buying up here to begin with. But because I had such, just a fuck up on the entry and on the strike price, I decided not to, give it much more room. And the only reason why I was patient through here is because even though I wasn't in ideally, the trade plan was still, 1179, 1180 area as ultimate risk, and it was respecting that. So that's why I gave it a little bit more room. Otherwise, I would have just taken it off right away. So I gave it a little bit of room, and it broke through here, and then I just ended up taking the whole trade off. And I don't think I had 3 contracts or something. I don't remember specifically. So I took the whole thing off. As soon as we cracked through VWAP, this push through, I took it off. And I didn't take a loss. I think I got a small win. I made 50 or 60 bucks or something on this trade, which on Google, if you ever traded Google, $50 or $60 is nothing. You can enter in if you can get in just above the bid, and you can pretty much sell at the midpoint or the ask and make 50 or 60 bucks on Google, because its spreads get pretty wide, as you saw with that. And they're really wide right now for some reason. At one point, I had $1.50 to $2 spreads on my puts, which is just insane. But that was my bad trade on the week in Google, it should have been an okay trade. I would have gotten chopped up in this consolidation here, but it's not that bad, at least not on Wednesday in a higher price stock like this. But I was a little out of the money, and I initially entered back here. Not my best showing. But I was a little bit more patient just because I had a nice win on the morning already with Tesla, and I had a pretty nice day trading on Tuesday. So I was being a little bit more patient than I could have. All right, so for my good trade this week, and it's actually going to be 2, because I really nailed, 2 trades back to back pretty fast. So this is from Monday. So start off with was Boeing. So I had this daily level here marked at stupid algo shit. 351.18. So let me show you where that came from. So it was just the low, basically the right opening low from last Wednesday. And it was a very fast tag, so it went up. So I was basically looking for the same thing, a really quick tag. So just a really rapid bounce. This wasn't supposed to be, a big all-day trade or anything, just a quick scalp. In the event that it happened, so I was looking around this morning, so I'm recording this right afterwards, so I actually remember stuff this time. So this was Monday, the 3rd. So I was looking around, to see what was happening. Some stuff was, going up and going down, and the only thing that was really, pushing into a level quickly right off the bat, that I had up at least, was Boeing here. So I knew from the open to here was about $3. So if I could get a fast $3 move down, and again, it's a $350 stock, get a nice $3 push down, we should, get some form of bounce. So came pushing down. We finally, started going really quick, and I didn't take in a whole bunch of positions here. So I bought right into this level, and yes, it did break. But as Pat always says, again, over at tricktrades.com, if you are not coming from that community and are interested in how to take trades like this, or how to learn how to take trades like this, which seems to be, a little bit contrarian compared to most of the day trading penny stuff that you see on YouTube nowadays. So definitely some cool stuff. So come check it out. But we did get a break of my level, and I'm not just going to panic and pull out, because it came down and immediately started getting sucked back up. So as we started to get this little pull up, went ahead and bumped my position size up a little bit. And I don't know specifically where it was. Let's just say there. Because it's on options, I can't give you guys specific prices I bought at, because the premium trade's different than the actual equity price a little bit. So we were pushing into here, and I was really, just going to risk off 350, which, yeah, that's what, like $1, but it's Boeing. It's a $350 stock. Risking $1 isn't, out of the question on stuff like this. So came down, and all I was looking for, like I said, a quick bounce. So my target was VWAP. So we got this big green push right away. So I pulled off my first half of the position, sold right in here, that red. And again, like I said, I was looking for VWAP, so we got that tag, and I took off all but one. I think I had 5. I might have only had 4, so I ended up taking off 1 here and 2 here. It was 2 here and 2 here. I don't specifically remember, and I'm not going to open up my broker just to answer that. So sold here, sold for my target, and just, on the off chance that it just kept ripping, because, that happens sometimes. We get a little dip, and then just, we're off to the fucking races for the rest of the day. So I just left one on to see if we would get that. And I was realistically, because this was a scalp, this wasn't meant to be, a holder or a longer term trade. It was just get the bounce and get out. I was only risking off of the price I got at this entry. So I wasn't going to risk back to lows, because ultimately, yeah, it would have worked and then come up higher. But if you trade options, if it came down here, the price here and the price here would probably be the same, if not this being actually a little bit lower than here. So I was just risking off of this level, see if we could get a push or some follow through. And we didn't. As you can see, we got a big rejection all the way back down. Once, I started coming back down and got to about the height of this candle, I just pulled off my last one and took my profits. That was a quick morning trade in the first, what time was that? 7 minutes of the day. That only took me about 3-4 minutes from entry to exit. And then Tesla. So Tesla, this was called out in the pre-market plan of attack and the nightly watch list or whatever. So Tesla kind of, chopped to begin with, and this is what I was talking about. You can get these dips and then a big rip up, so that's what I was watching to see if that would happen on Boeing. That's why I left a little piece on. But Tesla, we started pushing up, and we got this big rejection. And I thought about taking this, but I wasn't quick enough. I was watching this out of the corner of my eye. I was really watching Boeing at the time, so that's why I was giving it some room. Otherwise, I would have scalped that. So it started coming up, and it was starting to put in, some wicks in this area. And this was right, around pre-market highs. Not exactly, at them or anything, but it was in that area. And it was also within this little kind of top area. I didn't have it marked out, but I just kind of knew where it was, in the 25, 26 area. So I started in very small here. And the ultimate plan was 229, risking off 230, 231 in that area. But I started in small here because the market was being a little weird. The SPY was up and down and down and up. So started in there, just I think one contract, nothing crazy. So even if it did run all the way up here, I would have only lost, like, on Tesla, probably on a single contract, like $150, which, isn't ideal, but I would never just leave a single contract on from that entry and go all the way up there. But I'm getting away from myself. So I put in one here on these wicks. Then we finally got to push through, and it came back down. And as this started coming back down, because this was quick, I bumped the position size up a little bit. Again, knowing that my ultimate, trade would be up here if it happened. But, if we got an early move, I would have just scalped through VWAP. So we got that little push, came back down, kind of chopped, pushed through. And then every time this pushed through, so pushed through, added just a little bit. Let it pull back, came back up, pushed through just a little bit. Again, this is my, lay the boots to it area. Push through. So I started in here to focus, add. Oh yeah, I should be adding these. My bad. Starter. Small add. Small add. And I'll say this as I'm putting these on here. This is not something you should do if you're struggling or new, or even on a stock that you don't watch very often. I watch, so I know how these trade. Amazon, Google, Tesla, and Netflix, and as of late, I've started been watching Boeing again as well. almost every day, if not, like I have those charts up just running, even if I'm not going to be trading at that time. I just have them up so I can see how they're moving and get comfortable with them. So I really know these stocks. I really know how they trade, their personality, so to speak. So with that and the style that I trade with that works for me, I'm comfortable with doing this. And if this ends up being a loss, so be it. But it's also because I know Tesla fairly well. So small starter, add, and then, we pushed up. I took my last add in. And this is where I bumped up my full position size. So I went up to the max that I normally will risk on a single trade. So basically nothing, small, just fucking laid into it. Again, risking off of 20 or 230. So if this would have went up any higher, I wouldn't have added anything else. It would have just been, full risk on at that point. But it started to, chop a little, and it was coming down, and it looked like it was going to fall. But we had some numbers coming out at 10, and the way the market was moving this morning was kind of weird. Like, it was coming up, but it wasn't, like, it didn't have follow through. It didn't, like, look really strong. So I figured we were waiting on that. I think it was manufacturing data. I don't remember. And I don't even know what the numbers were. I just knew that was going to be the make or break moment for around this time of day. So I was waiting, and what made that nice is that I was, down here. So if everything started ripping off those numbers, I could have just, immediately closed the position versus it being up here and then going. So a little bit more room to move, about 80 cents or so. But they came out. People didn't like what they saw, and we got some nice, quick movement down. I pulled off half my position here. Really got to get a different color for these. Half here, looking for VWAP. Realistically, I was looking if we could get a big push down. It came back up, it came down, and I had some stuff I had to go do. So I counted that as, basically VWAP. And the premium on this push, for I don't know, whatever reason, they really spiked. So I took, advantage of that on the option side. So realistically, if I would have held here, this little green candle, and push here, I might have made a little bit more. But, I'm not trying to pinch pennies or squeeze it for all it's worth. I got a really nice move of 2 points to 2.5 points or so. I know I said I was adding in here, but when you get these big follow-throughs, you really get some follow-through. So that was my other really good trade. So this with Boeing turned out to be a pretty great morning. Doubled my daily average on these two trades. So my daily average P&L over the past month or so, I hit it spot on in my first Boeing trade, and then with this Tesla trade, I made more than that. So, it was a really, really good morning to basically do 2 days worth of work, which is great because I missed yesterday because it was Labor Day in the first 35 minutes of the market open. And then after this, I just went ahead, not getting greedy, shut it down for the day, and went about all the bullshit that I have to deal with. So hopefully that was, kind of helpful. It was different from the normal trades that I post with here, where I just come into some resistance or support that I have marked, and it comes back down like I did with Boeing. Boeing's very straightforward. Push in, pulls back up, take profit. Tesla, a little bit more involved, required a little bit more managing, but again, I'm very comfortable with trading Tesla. And I also encourage you guys, if there's 3 or 4 stocks out there you can really get to know, do that, because then you're going to be able to take trades like this. And if you just ignore this first one, so it's just a starter. So trades like this where there's a high chance that it will come down or you will get a decent wash, and you're able to add in at the appropriate time. So if I would have added every time it pulled back and pulled back and pulled back, I would have not nearly been as profitable as I was when I added on these pushes here, so on these big green candles. As always, you got any questions and you're a Trick Trades member, hit me up in chat, leave a comment below, like and subscribe if you have not already, please. And if you are looking for a great place to learn how to day trade like this, how to trade a little bit different than all the penny guys out there or the traditional options traders who just buy strangles and iron condors and butterflies and all that jazz, come check out tricktrace.com. I link it down in my description. Go check out Pat's YouTube channel. He has a ton of great free content on there. That's how I found him, was through some free YouTube videos, and it just kind of snowballed from there. So hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will catch you next week. Later.